Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. To paraphrase Eleanor Roosevelt, great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people. And a lot of that small-minded talk is what you'd call gossip. I want to talk about gossip today because I think it's the biggest source of unnecessary stress in many of our lives. We don't have to accept gossip into our lives, or our workplaces, or our families, or our personal relationships. So how do we refuse to let it infect us? I think for starters, we need to recognize what gossip is. And too many people think that gossip is sharing falsehoods about other people. And that is gossip. It's also slander. But people assume that if something is true, that it's not gossip. I disagree. I think that gossip is when we're sharing information about another person that's not ours to share. When we don't have a right to share something, it's gossip. Even if what I'm saying is absolutely true, it can be really harmful for me to spread information that's not mine to share. Even if it's really good news, like someone's getting married, well, that's their news to announce. That's not my news to pass along. So I think we first need to recognize what gossip actually is. Next, we need to understand how to handle it when someone shows up, as they invariably will, with information that is not theirs to share. Oftentimes people are a little bit upset and they say, "Did you hear about so-and-so? I can't believe she did this." I think sometimes the most helpful and the most gentle response to people is to say something like, "Sounds like you're really frustrated with that. How do you think you'll handle it?" Or "What do you think you should do about that?" Or even, "How could you be helpful to that person? Sounds like they're having a tough time." Saying those kinds of things keeps the information squarely on the shoulders of the person who just tried to dump it off with you. And you invite them to do something with that that's more productive. It's a subtle way of saying, "Well, don't pass it along to me. If you feel like there's something that you could do that would actually be helpful, then I encourage you to do that with this other person." I think sometimes people come to us because they've had a bad experience with someone and they just want to complain about it. And it's kind of like the old monkey on the back analogy, where people show up with their problems as if they were monkeys on the back, and they set them down and they let that monkey play in your space, and they wait to see if you'll pick up the monkey and try to solve things for them. But that doesn't empower people. That doesn't help them have the success of facing hard things. And it doesn't allow them to work with the people who helped co-create the challenge that they're facing to conquer that. So today, I invite you to consider whether you have any stress in your life right now because gossip is infecting your world. And if so, I encourage you to identify it for what it is and look for opportunities to help people that are trying to spread it, to own it, but without you taking it on. Give it back to them and encourage them to do something productive with it. And in a subtle way, you also encourage them not to keep spreading it, at least not to you. In fact, if you do that enough times, people will quit showing up trying to share things with you. They'll start thinking more about how they might deal with the situation themselves in more productive ways than just spreading bad news or slanderous ideas or any other negative information. I hope that makes a difference for you and the people you serve, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.